Hey, I need to finish doing the laundry before we go to Uncle Frank's rechristening. Did you put the wash into the dryer?
Uh, no, I forgot. Why do we have to go to the rechristening again? I really don't want to see Father Thomas giving Uncle Frank a head bath. He's so old.
Okay, but I promised I'd bring a casserole, so we're going.
Wouldn't be so bad if you didn't insist on wearing the diaper.
Okay, well, is the laundry gonna happen or not? I have to start cooking.
Hold on, I'll check. Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Well, why don't you check again? I can help you. Make sure it's not a fluke.
Well, okay, first of all, it's called a minority report. Okay, second of all, I don't see how that's gonna change anything, but fine, let's just. If you have no idea what you just saw, let me catch you up to speed. Minority Report is a 2002 film based on the short story by Philip K. Dick of the same name. The movie takes place in a futuristic world where criminals are caught before they commit a crime with the use of precogs, individuals who can see visions of the crimes before they happen. There are always three precogs determining what the future will look like, because if one ever differs from two, then the majority is considered to be the true future, and the outlier, known as the Minority Report, hence the name, is wiped from the record completely. It's a great film. Check it out. Tom Cruise, Colin Farrell, that one guy that's in everything as like a cop or a sergeant or something. Yeah. Anyways, why am I telling you about this movie? Well, I truly believe that I have the gift of precognition. Granted, it's part of the reason that I think I might be a robot, but that's an entirely different conversation for another day because they're not even robots in the movie. Obviously, all of us experience deja vu or gut instincts, or some people even claim that they can see the future. The first time I remember having these precognitive abilities was back in high school. I remember that my brother had gone to the doctor and got a steroid shot right in his butt cheek. I remember waking up that night around 3 in the morning. No noise had woken me up, no light, no nothing. It was just kind of suddenly awake. Not 30 seconds later, I hear my brother screaming his head off from his bedroom. My mom, somewhat startled by the commotion, like any normal person, began screaming as well, unlike any normal person. Apparently, the steroid antibiotic cocktail or whatever it was that was given to my brother caused him to have a vivid hallucination of his bathrobe coming to life and crawling like a spider onto his bed, tearing up the entire mattress. Not an image I want to think too much about. Oh, and me? Little old me? I just sat in my bed, wondering why my body had woken me up, seemingly for no reason, only to find out that I was being warned of what sounded like an attempted murder. I have other examples and stories, but there is one thing that has eluded my precognition, and that is that I wish, more than anything, that I could accurately predict the weather. Because I think that weathermen shouldn't get paid to lie. Let's gripe about it, shall we? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gripes. I'm your host, Noah DeGeorge. Let's be honest, school is hard. It's definitely not for everyone, and the people that it is for, they work pretty hard to wear that cap and gown. Personally, for me, I attended college for 4 years and walked out with a 2-year degree. I'll let you do the math on that one, because I'm not pretty good at math. The point is, college is not easy, and the people that go to school to become meteorologists, yeah, they work their butt off. There are a lot of things that factor into a meteorologist's responsibilities, but the number one spot definitely has to go to the brains. I mean, without the knowledge that they gain from higher education, meteorology is not something that just comes naturally to people. Or does it? We'll get to that. That aside, nearly everything about meteorology is something that has to be taught and therefore learned, whether it's through higher education or through weather models. Not only that, but meteorologists have to have impressive communication skills, and they have to look good and sound good on camera. And let me tell you, it is not easy for everyone. All I'm saying is it's not easy to be a weatherman. So should I cut them some slack? Outside of how difficult it may be to be the one that's predicting the weather, there actually are some difficulties when it comes to making accurate predictions. For one, when you check the weather, your phone isn't collecting real-time data. It's presenting data that's been collected by an actual weather station, meaning that if you're not very close to one, your prediction could be a little bit off. Does that give you any more faith in your local weatherman? Probably not, but at least it's not entirely their fault in that case. Now, here's one thing that is worth mentioning, but take it with a pretty hefty grain of salt, okay? Researchers say that, get this, weather models and forecasts can be somewhat scrambled by... Are you sitting down? I mean, it'd be kind of weird if you were standing up watching this, unless you're like 5G towers, everyone. That's it. We solved it. We cracked the case. Now I know who to blame when I'm caught in a shitstorm without an umbrella. Thanks a lot, T-Mobile. But overall, like I said, predicting the weather can be a little bit of a toss-up. Typically, a 5-day forecast is 90% accurate, and a 7-day forecast is about 80% accurate, and continues to drop off from there to about 50% for a 10-day forecast. This here is the biggest credit to meteorologists and to the technology that we've developed. I mean, think about it. You're literally predicting the future with computers. 90% accuracy is nothing to sneeze at. So where's the problem? I mean, why am I upset about this? Why would I make such a bold accusation? I mean, is it really worth griping over that the end of my week isn't going to look exactly like it says it will on Monday? No, it's not worth griping over. But let me tell you what is. In order to see the future, first we have to look backwards. Sounds like the tagline to a horrible sci-fi movie, or like a reclaimed wood decoration at your mom's house. And yes, for anyone asking, I have been to your mom's house. And she was straight up hospitable, yo! No, but really, it was a lovely afternoon. I'm married, so, you know. But your mom and I still... So how did people predict the weather in the past? Well, it's simple, you see. They used they ass. Like this kind. An ass. A jackass. History books are riddled with old-timey sayings about the weather. Some you may have heard, others did not stick. Like this one. When the ass begins to bray, surely rain will come that day. It's a well-known fact that rain and storms are typically indicated by low-pressure systems, and animals are sensitive to this pressure change. Dogs will bark, frogs will croak, and apparently asses will bray. I know when there's a lot of pressure in my tummy, my ass would be straight braying. That's a good old-fashioned fart joke for you there. Feel free to use that one on the house. Then there are others like this homoerotic Shakespearean phrase. Rainbow in the morning, sailor's warning. Rainbow at night, sailor's delight. This essentially is referring to how rainbows are always opposite of the sun. So in the morning, if you see a rainbow, that means the moisture in the air is to the west and will likely move east, meaning you'll get smacked with some bad weather. Whereas a rainbow in the evening means that the moisture is in the east and will likely stay the hell away. Either that, or now we really know what happened on those long boat rides full of a bunch of depraved men. I'm just saying, whatever happens on the Santa Maria stays on the Santa Maria. And lastly, of course, everyone makes fun of how old ladies will just sit on their porch and say, "Storm's coming up, Annie, you better get home quick," because they can feel it in their joints. Well, actually, they're not Jedi powers, it's true.
All of it.
Because the low pressure outside makes the air in your hollow bones want to move out there instead to balance things out, making your joints ache. After all of this, here's my gripe. I'm here to posit that pirates, senior citizens, and dogs are better at predicting the weather than meteorologists. Not on a 7-day forecast, not on a 5-day forecast, but on a forecast the day of. You would think that with all the science and technology that goes into predicting the weather on a given day, again, taking into account that 5-day forecasts are 90% accurate, you would think that same-day forecasts would be close to 100% accurate, right? Wrong. You're stupid. It's still only about 90% accurate. Don't even get me started on precipitation. Most weather stations report an accuracy of 70% on 3-hour forecasts. Imagine going to your local weather station and asking the weatherman, hey, what's the weather going to look like in a few hours? And he says, might rain, might not. Think about that and tell me that we as a human race are not being collectively played by meteorologists around the globe. But there has to be a reason for this, right? Like, seriously, what gives? Well, I'll tell you what gives. Edward Lorenz and the introduction of chaos theory in 1962. Damn it. Edward Lorenz was a brilliant scientist that made one of the most important discoveries in the field of meteorology, and his discovery was this: it's impossible to predict the weather. Full stop. After running test after test and plugging in equation after equation, that was his conclusion. The idea behind the chaos theory is that no matter what your initial conditions are, the weather is going to behave erratically no matter what. Yet, here we are with thousands of weather channels predicting the weather on the 5s and 8s every day. And people will say that Lorenz was proven wrong with advancements in technology and just better science overall. Science. Are you sure about that? I certainly didn't know this until researching for this episode, but I learned something interesting about that so-called science. There is, in fact, a mathematical equation to determine the chance of rain on any given day. You know, math, the thing that's famous for having objectively correct answers. And the formula is as follows. P equals A times C. And what do these variables stand for? P represents the probability or percent chance of rain, so we need to multiply A and C to get P. So what do A and C stand for? Great question, stereotypical student. A represents the area that will be affected by rain. So that just leaves C. What does C represent? Well, C stands for the confidence that the meteorologist has that it will indeed rain. Wait, but Mr. Greitman, how does that make any sense? I don't know. Isn't it kind of dishonest to use subjective probability and tote it around like it's scientific certainty? I don't know. Well, how do you even calculate level of confidence in the first place? Isn't that just admitting that you don't...
I don't know! What, you think it's so easy being up here? Fine, you do it. You figure it out. I'm done.
You're welcome to form your own judgments, but to me, it sounds like every prediction, no matter how close the weather models are, comes down to one word that you will never hear a forecaster say, and that is probably. It's never, it probably will rain, or it might be 75 degrees. It's always, it will be 75 degrees, or we are going to see rain. Edward Lorenz had it right. There is no way to perfectly predict the weather, but meteorologists are feeding us these guesses and passing them off as certifiable truth, and then they're dodging blame when they get it wrong. Now, I understand that dodging blame is a pretty strong choice of words, but I do think that there's some shadiness going on. Follow me here. Let's see. Wait a minute. But seriously, just by visiting a few of these articles after a quick search, you'll notice that most of them are talking about how weather forecasts are actually more accurate than you think. I wonder who's writing these articles. Oh, interesting. They're written by weathermen. How Come Weather Forecasters Aren't Always Right by Nate Byrne. And there he is, the man himself, ABC weather presenter Nate Byrne. Look at that smug little face. What's going on with that? You're telling me that he doesn't know that he's lying on live television? Or this one, Meteorologists Are Always Wrong, Right? By Chief Meteorologist J.D. Rudd. And this one, wait, Meteorologists Are Always Wrong, Right? Wrong, by J.D. Rudd? Dude wrote the same article 6 years apart, and reading these articles, it certainly sounds like these weathermen are making excuses for bad weather predictions. Your local meteorologist is under a lot more pressure and stress than you might think. More often than not, they provide a solid forecast. What is that? Oh, I'm just a little meteorologist. Please don't be mean to me. I'm very stressed out. Come on with that garbage. Meteorologists around the world are simultaneously playing us, getting paid for it, and gaslighting the people that get butthurt about forecasts. If I haven't convinced you by now, that's totally fine. And if there are any meteorologists out there watching, I hope I didn't hurt your little feelings. But really, whether or not you believe me, here's my point, and I'm going to take a page out of Philip K. Dick's philosophy book. When you predict the future about things that directly influence another person's life, you've completely eradicated the notion of individualistic free will. On the whole, most people care about these things. Oh, we're going to change to an indoor wedding because Channel 5 said it's going to rain that day. Then suddenly it's the most beautiful day of the year and you missed it. This might be one of the last times you get to see Grandma and Grandpa. We should go down to the pier and go fishing just like old times. Then next thing you know, a storm blows in and the day is ruined. Oh, I'll start my road trip at about 8 o'clock. Yeah, Channel 12 said that the storm's not going to get here until tomorrow. Then you find yourself sliding off the road into a ditch in the middle of a blizzard. Weather forecasts represented a certainty control how we live our lives, the things we do and the things we don't. And the simple fact is that we should never try to predict the future, and we definitely shouldn't listen to those who say they can. When our future is known, it destroys our ability to choose how we live our lives. Let's face it, as much as I like to think I'm a precog, I can't predict the future. No one can.
The future. It must be fulfilled.
Thanks for griping with me today. If you're interested in getting to know me, your host, and what else I do here on the internet, you can find links to all the different projects I'm a part of down in the description. But enough about me. I'll see you on the next episode of Gripes.